So this video is different from the other stuff on this channel. This was a test run on seeing if I could do live game dev stuff with my current setup. I've never done it before and wanted to see how it would go. This wasn't live, by the way, it was recorded, but it helped me understand what audio levels I needed, what to display on screen, you know, all that stuff. Anyways, most of this video is me making a scene transition asset to use in my other Unity projects. I'll cut out parts where I leave for a moment, but the rest is going to be unedited. Enjoy! Okay, I'm just going to be doing a little test. Did I delete Unity? I closed it. Oh man. Alright, gonna be running. Make a scene transition manager. This class, I set up the basics for it. Let me see, display, personalize. I'm just gonna change this back to what I usually do. Slideshow. Show my dog. Just a moment. Let's go back to that. I need to make sure I have OBS visible. Okay, so I gotta figure out how I want to do this. So I want this scene. I guess we'll just add a basic UI. Let's do an image. If I'm gonna be dealing with UI, let me add a couple of packages. So I need my assets. I know I'm going to need. It's easier to find by images. It's like cam. So UI selection. Yep, it's this one. I definitely recommend. Oh, I don't have it on screen. It's this one. Make it smaller. That's one thing I have to get used to if I'm doing these recorded things. I need to let people see it. That's why I was hoping to get it on my other screen, because my other screen is like a 4K monitor, but it doesn't really show up well on OBS. Maybe I could find that out. OBS with 4K screen.
Click on settings, select video. Here you can see your current resolution. So click on here to change your base resolution to 4K, which is same as 2840 by.
I mean, I could try that. So I go to OBS settings. Output. I don't think I could do that while I'm recording. Okay, I'll stop it real quick. Alright, I'm back. I tried doing it, but then I realized how stupid it would be to, because if I'm going to be doing these streams, it'd be dumb to do this in 4K. And video wise, it might be fine, but I don't want to get it that high in terms of file size. This is the asset I'm using, so I can click on stuff. I think other than that, I don't really need anything else. Clouds I don't need. Sand game I don't need. This one I might need for another project. Probably do that later on. I don't know if it's just like using like a render texture. Because I definitely want to have this 3D object instead of a 2D image, but one, I don't know if that's going to be expensive to do, and two, it just might just be unnecessary, but that's something I might try, but it doesn't need to be done right now. This is a good asset too if you want to just make a simple settings thing for a game. Use it in Ballapalooza. Okay, import to project. This one you can just do it. There's nothing like a demo thing. It's just a tool that works from the get-go. I highly recommend this one if you're doing stuff with Unity, especially UI stuff. It just makes working with UI much easier because you don't have to go through the hierarchy. You just click it. For the most part, I do have another asset called Super Text Mesh, but it doesn't work with that, unfortunately. I don't know why it doesn't. Okay, cool. So now I can actually click on this instead of having to do that. Okay, let me see. Game view. I guess I'll have that over there. Usually what I like doing is having it, using one of my things to be full screen. So I would have like this here. No, not that. I like having it like this. I also have another add-on that makes it full screen, but I'm not going to use it for this right now. I don't see the reason for it. But I can't use it on my other monitor because then you guys won't be seeing anything, and the whole point is for you guys to see stuff. That's kind of the downside of having a dual monitor, because like for you guys seeing it, it's not that cool, but it's a bummer because I would have liked the 4K thing anyways. All right, so I'm gonna have this canvas image. Zoom out to the canvas image. Let's make it fill the top. Move it down just a bit. A little bit more. Gotta make that like a black. Some opacity. Okay, cool. I'm gonna give color to before rendering, I think. There we go. Skybox, solid color. It's usually my default color. Image. Or is it too dark? It might be blending in with the. There we go. Yeah, it was blending into the actual color because it is the same color. So a little bit more transparent. Like that. Okay. Let's put some text on here, which I don't know why Text Mesh Pro is not built into the base Unity stuff. It really should be by now. I know there's some people who use the base. That's a oddity. Title. Scene. Title. Text. This is scene 1. Are any better fonts? Not really. I could import a font. But I think it's fine. Let's make sure that this stretches across. And I want to center auto size. Okay, that's fine. Now I'm just gonna need a button to load different scenes. Okay, let's call this basic UI. Going to put this as a parent, call it UI. Usually with this, I kind of do like this is just a good separator. Okay, so I want to create the name of this project, the Scene Transition Manager. And whenever you, so I'm going to make this persist. Persist. It's usually the name I give for things I want to exist throughout scenes. I do have some code here. Persist. I use it a lot in other classes. Yes. Persist.cs. What project would it be? TD or Rogue, I think, has it. Okay, I'm gonna have to search for it manually. It shouldn't be too bad. My files here. Okay, that's not. I don't know if that's the newest version, because I remember there's some old code of this persist. Go back in. Projects. There's Rogue. It's good to have your stuff organized. It's easier to find it again. It should be like here. Persist. So this is the code. It's pretty simple. You just have the name of the object that you want to keep persistent. Usually it's the thing you attach it on. It finds it, all those things, checks if there's multiple instances and destroys that other instance. And then we just tell it don't destroy on load. Oops. So I'm just going to copy this. Oh, I have it in the error canvas. I see. This is the most updated code. I'm just going to close that. Go back to Unity, open it. And I use Writer for my code editing. My Visual Studio is fine. But I don't know, I've just been kind of used to using Writer for a while. I think I got like a free subscription when I was a student in college. I've just kind of been using it since. Okay. So that should work. This transition manager should always persist throughout scenes, as long as there's one. And I don't think it should kill this one. I don't think it should kill this one. It might, but it's fine. Okay, put the name in. Let's add a button. So add it to the basic UI here. Create UI button. Let's give it like width of 200, height of 100. To scene 2. Make the text a little bit bigger. I guess I'll make the button a bit bigger. There we go. Okay, cool. That's all I need. And then we just need a... So we'll just do a simple like load. I'm gonna hide this bottom part. I don't need that. Yeah, the one thing with the 19 by this smaller monitor size, because I don't normally use Unity in this size, I use it in my bigger monitor. So everything feels a lot more cluttered together. Let's just do a simple. Actually, I might make it its own class. Level loader. Okay, I'm gonna have a public enum level or scene enum. So it's gonna be scene 1, scene 2, maybe scene 3. Okay, so we want to be using scene, it's Unity engine dot scene management. Okay, cool. Also have a GitHub Copilot, so if you see like autocomplete stuff, it's usually popping up, but I try not to use it too much. So it's public void load scene, where you take in our scene enum. Actually, yeah, we want the scene enum. You gotta make sure the scenes are spelled correctly. Or we can also have it like, no, that's fine. Should be okay. Should be good. Load scene. Okay, save that. Because I don't like working with strings as much as I can. Knowing me, I'm gonna like mistype it by just like one thing and it's gonna be all messed up. Oh, also I want to try out this new thing I got. So package manager, my assets. I want to try this hot reload thing. It's pretty useful. I'll just download everything or import everything. I'm trying to get used to using this more. I've been using it in my other project for my tower defense game, but it's something like more my behavior is not used to using it as much, because I usually, if I have something I need to change, I remember to close out of play mode and stuff, but with this you can just stay into play mode. So I need to get more of the habit of doing that. Okay, so I got this little thing. This is a little window for the hot reload. Everything's all good. I like to put it down here at the bottom. And I'll have like a little thing of code changes. It'll show up here. Also, yeah, my code is showing up there. Yeah, only 13 minutes, okay. So now we go on this button. Drag the level loader in, so I can do this if I wanted to select it. I think it shows the text because Text Mesh Pro works, but not my Super Text Mesh. So I want to go to level loader. Does not have it as an option. Maybe because that's weird that doesn't do it with enums. I think the issue is because it has an enum as a parameter. Well, I guess I can do something like public void load scene 1. This we just call load scene 1 public void. Okay. This is the thing I like GitHub for, the Copilot, is all this like repetitive stuff. It's fast to do. Okay. So now go back here. We go to level loader. I guess I need to wait for it to recompile. Yeah, because the hot reload stuff only happens when you're not in play mode. So level loader, load scene 2. I would have liked to have it with the enums, but whatever. Having these simple functions are fine. Let's save scene 1. I'm actually going to copy everything here. Go to my scene transitioner manager. Scene examples. Put those in there. Scene 2. I want to delete that camera, put in this new one. And then for the background color, I'm going to change it so that's more obvious that it's scene 2. Okay. I'll make it more red. And then we go back to the scene here. Scene 1. Look at the entire canvas. Scene 1. Scene 2. Okay, cool. Super easy. Now, the only thing I need to change is the button. Needs to go back to scene. Can you hear my dog? He's barking. Don't know why. I'm gonna go check real quick. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, there's like some people at the door. I think my dad was saying like some religious people. I'm not too sure. Okay, so one thing with OBS that when I record my videos, I use Audacity because there's a lot more finer control. I know there are some settings on OBS, but for my mic. So if it sounds louder, that's probably why. Right. Oh, I think I was going to test these. Oh no. Well, first, gotta make sure to add this. And then I also want to add scene 1 as well. And the order doesn't matter. Scene 1 should be before scene 2. Okay. Save. I'm not going to build it just yet. I need to test it in the editor. Scene 2 should take me to scene 1 and so on. Cool. Pretty quickly. So now what I need to do, I hear some birds chirping. I need to go from scene, when we click on it, we need to cause the scene transition to activate. And then while it's waiting, we load the scene. And then when we come back from loading the scene, we need to call it to fade back in. Fade in, fade out kind of thing. So for right now, let's create a UI panel called, this is going to be the scene transition canvas. Make sure it scales to your screen size. I'm going to say 1920 by 1080. Let's do 0.5. And I'll just stick with the width. I don't know when you would want to have one or the other. Okay, so this will be holder. Let's call this default transition. This will just be the, also this needs to have higher priority. How do I do that? So I'm going to set a priority of 10. Image will be black. No transparency. And then we'll need to put an animator on it. Go to projects. So if we go here to scene transition, I'm gonna make animations. And it's default transition. It's gonna have an animator on it. I gotta make sure that's unscale time because we're gonna be stopping time. Well, you could be stopping time. I'm just gonna have it on unscale time. Okay, so we want to create the. I used to have hotkeys for this, but it got messed up because I think it conflicted with another. I mean, I could check control. Yeah. So I'm going to create animation controller. So this is the default transition controller. Yeah, controller. That's going to go on there. And then we want 3 animations. This is going to be fade in. We want fade out. And then in wait and out wait. And those are the only ones we need. These shouldn't be looping at all either, so I'm just making sure. And the animator, we want to start on out wait. Where is it? What the heck? Let me try adding a new animation tab. Sometimes, or not animation, animator. Window tools. Sometimes it's a bit buggy. There we go. I think I needed to have an animator selected. So outweight should be our default. And then we can transition to fade in. Have it and go from the top. So we go from outweight, which should be like transparent. Fades in from transparent to the animation we want to do. And then we have in wait. That waits during until the scene's fully loaded. And then we fade out. And that'll loop back to outweight. Okay. So now, let's call an animator in charge of this. It'll also be called, so I could use the default animator stuff. I like doing my own stuff. So call it transition animator. So here, private animator. Here, since I'm using code to do animations, I need a private read only int. This is going to be fade in, fade out, in, wait, in, out. Okay. So start with the fade in. So I like to use capitals when I do this. String to hash. Yep. Okay. Private. Let me just copy this. It'll be faster if I copy. So this will be fade. Oops. Out. Out. Oops. This one is going to be in wait. That's why I don't like working with strings, because I'm just gonna type it. Mistake for sure. In wait. Wait. Okay, it's all good. And then public void. So I don't want this exactly. I want I think it's like cross. I thought it was like cross. Maybe it is just play. So I have the functions. Okay, cool. The only thing I will do, though, is fade in should always lead into fade in wait. So we'll make a transition there. So it'll always transition. And then this one should always make a transition back to there. And this would transition there, but we'll wait for the to get called for fade out. So in that case, I don't need the code here, because that'll be called with the transitions. Yep, I think that's right. Now let me get rid of these grid lines. I don't like them. So here, drag that in. So we go to animation. So in wait is easy to do. We're just affecting the opacity. So we'll record. So there we go. It should be full opacity. And we can do outweight. Outweight will have 0 opacity. And it'll also be have the image off. That way I don't think it's a render target anymore. A raycast target. I'll turn that off too as well. And so fade in will be where we're recording. So I want to turn that image off. It's not a raycast target. And the next frame, I want to turn that on, turn that on. I want to make sure the opacity is 0. And let's say after a second, the opacity is full. See how that looks? So for like 1 frame, you could probably cluck through it, but it should be fine. Because normally, the way I want it to work is to disable. You shouldn't be doing things once the scene is loading. So that'll be in like other code that would need to implement checking if we're transitioning. And then this one can just be the opposite of that. So we paste that, move these over. I'm gonna make this music a loop. I don't have to keep adjusting it all the time. Also, if you want the name of the song, it's Nobonoko, music for a cafe, animal cafe. Pretty good song, or a pretty good album. Okay, let's see. You got small, but so when we scrub through the timeline, it's dark. Something didn't get copied properly. Let me delete this. Paste it again. And let my dog in. Right, he's in the room. Sitting right next to me. I need to get a less loud chair. Because I got it so that the wheels don't make as much noise, but the chair still creaks us a lot. So, okay. So now does it do what I want? It should go from full opacity to... No, it doesn't do that. What the heck? I am copying everything. Fade in. I wonder if because of those two things are like so close to each other. So don't like how small that is. Okay, let's see. So it's a raycast target. So it's going to be blocking. Okay, this should be moved over a frame. That way you don't notice it going back to full opacity. Okay. Just making sure that works again. Okay. In weight is just that. Out weight is that. Okay, cool. So now, whenever we want to load a scene, we need to talk to the scene transition manager first. So let me have scene. Let's copy the name. Okay, so one thing I probably want to have. Let me see if we can find a singleton behavior. There's some other code I want to use. Always reuse this. Pretty useful if you like using singletons, which I love to do. So it just makes it so that it does the singleton stuff. Paste it over here. The nice thing with the writer is I can just move it to its own class. Cool. So now instead of drawing from mono behavior, it's going to be a singleton behavior of the same class. So now other classes can reference it if they wanted to. So we can say scene transition manager dot instance dot whatever. It's a very handy class. So what we want to do, I'm trying to think here. So we want to fade in, right? And then once it's done fading in, we want to load. So in transition animator, we want a public event on finished fading in and a public event on finished fading out. With the transition animator, what we can do is have a public void finished fading in. It's an event though. Why is it not? Maybe it shouldn't be an event. Let me think about this. So we call the animation. We'll have a function in here for when we finish fading in and fading out. So let's maybe have a public bool. Actually, private bool finished fading in, set it to default, private bool. And then we can have some public private getters, bool set. Cool. Let's have some public getters to set that. And let's have some public getters as well. Public. Wait, we don't need a public. Should be expression bodies. Oh, you know what is probably? They need to be void. I don't want these returning anything. These should be and then if let's see. Surprised it doesn't tell me to turn into expression body. There we go. Yeah, okay, that's the same thing. It's been a bit since I used expression bodies. Well, with this specific thing, because it also changes how the greater than or equal to's are. I wasn't too sure. Okay, and then public bool get finished, and then get fading out. Cool. And why just not make them bool or private or public variables instead? I don't know. I just prefer if it doesn't need to be public, like these things. I don't see the need to make it public. Prefer having functions that are public that does most of the stuff. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out how to get that with level loader. So when we load the scene, we can make it a coroutine. Okay, let me try making a coroutine. Enumerator. Coroutine. I do this silly thing with coroutines where I call it coroutine and then I put them in all caps. Coroutine load scene. I guess put the scene enum scene. So yield return null, just so it's happy. And then here I want to call, so in the scene transition manager, let's have a reference private transition animator. Call this default transition animator. So this, I'm actually gonna see if I split it here. Does it look okay? Make it a little bit smaller. Okay. That way I get both of them at the same time. So we want to call a function in scene transition manager that kind of like public bool or public void start transition. Now we don't care anything about the scene. That's just going to say, yeah, okay. So we set everything to false. Should be, but that's just good for cleaning up because afterwards, once we need to do another transition. Okay, so we say scene transition manager dot instance dot start transition. And then later on, if I have different transitions, I can specify, probably have another enum here so that we can choose different ones. And then now what I want to do is I want to wait until is yield. Is it yield? Return new wait until. I always forget wait while or wait until. Wait until this is true. Okay, so we want to do wait until. I want to wait until we are finished fading in. Okay, so we start the transition, wait until the fade in animation is done. And next, load the scene. So that should be that. And then we want to wait. We want to listen to the onload thing, right? It returns. Doesn't it return like a var on scene loaded? Okay, load scene to string, and then single. What does that mean? Okay. that was the... Check this. Unity will send for when a scene is loaded. Scene load. Okay, so I use the scene manager. I wasn't too sure if it was that or not. So see, they do it on enable. Let's do it on enable, I guess. On enable. I'm going to do scene manager dot on scene loaded plus equals on scene loaded. To create that that function. I'm gonna, I guess we'll leave it there. So how do they do it? Okay, I'm just gonna make sure I have maybe on destroy. This is scene manager scene loaded, and then private on disable scene manager. I just make sure that you unsubscribe from those events because those can cause memory leaks. I do it both because you don't get an error or anything if you try unsubscribing something that doesn't exist. It just does nothing. At least I believe it doesn't do anything. But making sure you get rid of it is important. So on scene loaded, they just say the scene that was loaded. Where do they load the scene? Okay, so there's awake goes first, on enable goes second, and then on scene loaded would be called right after that, and then start after. So that makes sense why it needs to be done in either on enable or awake. Okay, so on enable, I don't have a start. Do I? Okay. So will this thing need to persist? Does my level lower need to persist? No, I think that might need to go on scene transition manager. Okay, so we load the scene. Load scene. And that should be it. Here, we need to call that. Let me get that code out of here. Enable. Have it here at the beginning. So scene manager. On scene loaded. And then we need to call the public void close transition. Don't think we need to worry about that. We just need to play the fade out. We do close transition. I think that's it. And then when we have finished fading out, that'll be called on the animator, on the animation, we can do stuff. Just trying to make sure there's no timing issues. Let me have a function called public void scene ready. Public bool scene ready. So we return if it's finished fading out. Should be saved. Should be true. But yeah, because when we are transitioning, we won't be ready because we're setting up a new scene. I'm gonna get rid of these for right now. I'm really using those. And then if we go back to transition animator, finish fading out, we need to say scene transition manager.instance.set finished fading in to true. This one will be true. So now let's go back to Unity. This probably needs to recompile some stuff. Maybe I'll just make this one big thing. Usually I don't do that, but I don't normally use the 19 by 20. Let me have this set up as the save layout to file. This is recording layout. Recording layout. Cool. Scripts have compile errors. I miss a semicolon somewhere. Oh, good. So now, let's drag in the reference. Also, this is going to need to be a prefab. We'll deal with that in a moment. So, animations, this has that. So, when we go to fade in, here, we want to add an event. That's going to be transition animator methods finished fading in. Hopefully I'm at the right spot. Maybe I'll have it a frame after. And then fade out. So it's 61. We'll add finish fading out. Okay. That's all saved. Now, am I missing anything else? I might need to have this prevent stuff from blocking later, but for right now, let's try that. It should transition. Okay, it did transition. So when we try doing this, okay, I'm just gonna make the transitions a little bit longer. Do that in this. Set the speed to like half. Actually, I just needed to do it to the fade-ins. These don't matter because they're just one frame. So I should see a fade out. Now I need a fade in. I'm not really seeing the fade in part. Oh, you know why? Because we aren't calling the right functions, the buttons. So one annoying thing about these scene things, I need to set them to Could make the canvas a... I mean, you could turn them off. Just remember, it has to be on during gameplay, but... So the button is actually called level loader. Level loader. We are calling this function public void load scene. So let's just get rid of these. Wait a minute. This is outside the class? That's redundant. Fix the, there we go. And I'll make the other two. And then another thing, maybe let's just do if scene transition manager, scene transition manager dot instance dot is ready. If it's not ready, we don't want to do this. Let's copy that and just put it here. Probably could put it in the loop, but it's just to prevent these unnecessary coroutines from starting off. Okay, thing looks good. So then we just need to call the new load scenes, which I don't know if that updates it. I'm gonna let my dog out. So I want to make sure that these buttons are loading the proper scene. Let's see one, okay. And then let's save. I want to make this a prefab. Scene transitions. Okay, so prefabs. Should the level loader be part of the scene manager? Yeah, let's make it, because we need to be loading scenes, so I guess it makes sense. Let's put that there. Okay, let's delete that. Drag and drop this. Save. Get rid of that, get rid of this. Prefabs, drag that in, save, see if it works. So we fade in, cool, and then click. The one thing I'm kind of worried about is since we're persistent, I don't know if on scene loaded does it a bunch of times. We are clicking the button. Did I forget to update in scene 2? Oh wait, I think in scene 1 I need to update the button. Yep. So level loader, load scene 2, save, try it again. Okay, we got the fade in. I'm not seeing a fade out. Go to debug. We haven't finished fading out. That's strange. I do have that in the animation, right? fade out, we have, get rid of the debug. Finished fading out, yeah. Then fade in. Finish fading in. Set those to true. That makes sense that we don't load the scene because we haven't said that it was ready. Let me make sure. Just print, finish fading in. Oops. Pressing delete instead of N, they're right next to each other. One issue is that the mic is kind of in front of keyboard a little, so it is blocking my view. So the console. I don't think I've ever got the finish fading out. Okay, well for right now, let me get rid of that is ready statement. Well, that doesn't work like that. Is that to comment it manually? Not the comment shortcut would do it, but we're not, it's not getting set. Why is it not getting set? Fading into true. Fading into fading out to true as well. Because we set these to false before we play. It doesn't seem like they're getting called at all either. I do have them so that they automatically call fade in should go to fade in wait. I'm gonna have this animator on the side here. So it should start off in fade out, states fade out wait. Click goes to fade in. Goes into fade out. Wait, it might be because the transition has no exit time. I don't think we're letting it finish playing. I need to let my animation finish. That's something I never thought of. Let's try it again, see what happens. Because it is at the end of the function. So are we getting it? It's the transitions. I wonder, does in the animation, do we know animator dot finished? Is playing? Okay, so I need to do that to the fade out as well, that transition. How did I do it over here? Exit time should be 1. Transition duration, let's make it 0. Okay, so then we go to the other one. Exit time is 1, transition duration 0. Hopefully should work. Let's see. We finish fading out. Fade in. We did get the second fade out. Okay. Cool. Now let me back to the level loader. Okay. Now let's try it again. I don't know what that flicker was there. That might be the transition thing. Yeah, that seems like a transition thing. Just need to fix that here. What if I do it like that, maybe? Because I don't want to have that flicker. The flicker's still there. Maybe I need to look at the animation when it does it. Fade out. Stop playing. There's nothing. I don't know why there's a flicker. Like 0.1. So can I do negative? 0 is the minimum. What is causing that flicker? So I'm looking at the animator. I guess I could right here. Stop seeing it go by frame. Goes black. Goes white for a second, or loses all transparency. I'm guessing this is the part where called the function. That's weird. Now it's not doing it. Try it again. I need to look at this animation. Default. Let me get this out of the way. So, fade out. So I need to look at the color value. Ah, right there. For some reason it gets set to full opacity there. Okay, that should fix it. Cool, no flicker. Reload the scene. Wait for it to get loaded. Everything gets loaded. Can do stuff now. That's not what I wanted to do. So let me put this back. So debug, both set to true, which means that we should be able to click this button. But it's not letting me. I wonder why that is. Because with this, it doesn't matter if we're here, we can just call it fade in there. I've never seen these debug stuff or this. Ooh, it does not like me doing that. Yeah. Let me just clear that. It's just some like window. Oh boy, it is really bugging out. That's why it's debug. Let me make it public, or not public, but serialized fields. That way I can see it in the editor without having to debug. Also need to be mindful because this is like a test thing. I'm only talking to myself, but I need to make sure, look, all these sounds aren't really heard, because I don't think people want to hear these sounds. So I need to like figure out a way to get some like filters on to prevent it. Clear. Now I can see when exactly those values are set. Yep. Then we want to fade in. Let's finish fading in. Fading out, okay. So now why wouldn't it let me load scene 1? Maybe it's because that button isn't set properly. Scene examples, scene 2. That did happen to the other one. So they aren't exactly the same value. Yep, knew that was going to happen. It was also probably because I got rid of the level loader when I put it in the prefab. We want to load scene 2. Let's just go from there. I think, let me go here. We'll get rid of these print functions because we can see the values now. Okay, these ones I guess we don't need. We only need to call the fade in, fade out. Get rid of the persist level loader. I think for the most part we're done. And then whenever I want to load in new levels, it's just simple as just add a new function, because the basis of it is done. Just the only thing that gets changed is the index. On the scene transition. Okay, let's load the scene. Go back to scene 1. Oh, I see this issue. I can just make it as part of the scene transition manager then. So in scene transition manager, let's have a private level loader, and then public void load scene. Start coroutine. Something like that. Can you make? I don't think I've ever done a public coroutine before. Okay, so that means we can get rid of these. I was getting a little messy, but right now I'm just trying to get it to work. So let's make a new public void load scene button. It's a class, actually. Public class load scene button. Should be mono behavior on awake. Public is going to be private void on awake. Private button elements load scene button. Did I not specify that? I want to say load scene button dot on click. On destroy. On disable. Okay. Let's make that function. Let me just do on destroy load scene button dot on click dot remove listener, and maybe on disable as well. So here I want to say we also want to have a private scene enum. That way I don't need an actual like reference drag in. It should just grab it. So scene transition manager dot instance dot load scene with our scene. So now I don't need to drag it in. So let's move this to its own class. Level loader system, I guess. Okay, I'm going to go into the prefab. We want to drag that in. Save, get out. Now this button. Let's get rid of this. And the button, load scene button. Drag the reference. This one we want to load scene 1. Save scene 2. I completely forgot about that persistence issue. Wants to go to scene 2. Save. Okay, let's try it. It makes sense why it works the first time, but then when you go to a different scene. There we go. Now it's independent of the scene transition manager. And the one thing I want to do is just I want to have a little guy move around. Should be pretty simple. Let me just turn that off real quick. I want to create a... The game is like that. This is a 2D game, so UI, sprite, square. I guess I could do it in the UI itself. Create UI image. Make him red so he pops out. player. So I'm just going to have basic inputs. So player input. Want to invoke Unity events. Want to see, do we have move? What is that? Okay, was that works fine. Temp player. So I just want to private float move speed, private correct transform. So on start, we need a reference to the player input, player private player input on player input dot actions. I think all that's going to do is just store a vector2 private vector2 move direction. Move direction is equal to that. That's it. And then I want to listen to player input actions canceled. On canceled. On move canceled. I'm just going to just set it to 0. Okay, and then on destroy, just unsubscribe from these events. On disable. Let me check what this does. Okay. Does unsubscribing from events twice cause an issue? I don't think it should. Yeah, it says unsubscribing multiple times is fine. As long as you know that that's going to make it so the code doesn't run anymore. Okay, so then in update private, void update, we want to move the player around. Hopefully that does what I want it to do. Doing stuff in the UI is a little bit different than just regular game world stuff. Let's see. Okay, I forgot to drag some references. This is the player rect. This is its player input. That's fine. It is moving pretty slow though. So do 100. Maybe 500. Okay. And so what I don't want is object reference. Is this saying scene transition manager is null? It is saying something is null. On load button. So we are null checking. is that not working? Do I have no reference somewhere? Oh, I'm dumb. I forgot to turn this back on. Okay. Temp player will be 500. And I'll show what the issue is. So we don't want actions happening until this transition is over. So pretty simple for that temp player. And this would be for all code. We just make sure that we aren't registering anything. So here, I guess I could do it here, but I can also do it here to not read values. If scene transition manager.instance dot scene ready. If it's not ready, return. That should fix it, but I'll also put it here too. Copy. And I'll be fine with on move cancel. That should be fine. Or I'll just put it there as well. Okay. So now we shouldn't be moving around until the scene is fully loaded. Okay. And then we stop moving. Cool. Now let's load back in. Okay. Save that. So now I want different transitions. So let's make this a, oops. Call this move to right transition. Squeeze this over a little. Move to right transition. So this one will have different animations. Now we go to projects, animations, copy the name of this. Shift. So to make a new folder, just do Control-Shift-N. You can do that anywhere on Windows. So this one will be similar. So animation controller, move to right transition controller. I'm gonna get rid of all those spaces. Okay, and then we just need the 4 animations. Animation, fade in, fade out, in wait, and out wait. Cool. Okay, here, need to set it to move to the right. The animator again. Default is out wait, and it goes to fade in, fade out goes this way, make the transition, in wait, make the transition. I wish I could simplify this part, but okay, so exit time 0, 1, 0. Okay, save that. Now I want to go into the scene, move to right transition. So let's animate that. So to fade it in, I want, so in wait should be this, it should be here. So let's do animations. In wait, the position, so I need to look at this. Set these to 0. Okay. Outweight. So when I I say move to right, do I want it to come from the left to the right? I guess when it fades in, it comes from the left to the right, and when it fades out, it comes from the middle to the right. Okay, so when we go out, and we want it to be set back to 0, whoops, and then at 1, I want it to go say 2000, negative 2000. Okay. I'm just gonna turn that off for the time being. So when we transition, we go that way. So fade in. There should be negative 2000, 2000. And then from here, we go to 0, 0. Okay, and got fade in, or no, fade out. I thought we saved, did I not save this? This is going to be 0.1, it's actually going to be 0, I'm just resetting it. And then from there, I want 2000, negative 2000, and wait. That's right. Oh, wait. Okay, I see what I did wrong. Should get moved over there. Okay, cool. That all looks good. And then now we just need to have a list of. Okay, so what I want to do is a pseudo dictionary, maybe. I think I can move this back over here. So when we do on-seed load, or no, we need to have what our loader is. So maybe that should be its own class. So public class transition, maybe. Yeah. This will just be a class non-mono behavior. So we need a public enum associated with it. Transition. Transition enum. Transition type. So we have default. It'll be, my goodness, I cannot type. Move to right. And then we need to specify the public transition animator, the animator. Need to make sure that this is serializable. System.serializable. And then we can just have a list of him. And we can say our current one. So let's have a private list of transitions. This will be the transition list. And then I want to have a private transition type, current transition type. Then I'll have a private function, private transition. get current transition. So this will be return. You get from our list. Transition list dot find, where it's the same enum. Do I not have it as a value? Oh, my bad. Public transition type. Type. And that should get us back the 1. And then let's have a public void set transition. I want to set it by the transition type. Okay. So now save back to Unity. Still getting errors. So let's have that list. Okay. I don't know why that's happening, but I'm going to install another package. Odin Inspector. Sounds pretty good. This one. The only thing I don't need this demo class. Everything else should be good to go. Just makes doing editor stuff in Unity much easier. Man, I gotta eat something after this. I'm pretty hungry. It's already 12:47 for me, and I haven't eaten anything in a bit. You get groceries and make some food. Probably get groceries and then just get some ready-made food at the store. I do like cooking, but I'm also hungry. It's almost 2 hours. It isn't too bad. Having to talk these things out is pretty useful. There should be one more pop-up. I should have done this earlier on. I think whenever I use hot reload, I don't know if that's specifically what's causing those bugs with the UI in the editor, but this usually fixes it. Usually doesn't take this long though. Let's just close that, close that. So now it should be all buggy. There we go. So I want 2 of them. This one will be the default. This one will be the move to the right. So we have the default one here. The move to the right here. And I want to set my current one to move to right. So let's see what happens. Turn that back on. They all should be on. Since their defaults are fade out, or the outweight, should be okay. Did it start on? Oh wait, I think I'm not actually using get current transition. Yep, we're still using that. So I want to do get current transition dot play fade in dot animator. I think it's add the animator dot. Yep. Get current transition dot animator. Okay. So now I'm going to move this to its own class. Close that. Cool. try running it again. And so we should have the move to the right one. Yep. Okay. That worked. I will, I'll probably change the animation time to animation. It's 1 second. Let's actually make it 2 seconds. Or 1.5. And fade out. What the heck? Okay, for whatever reason, it wasn't letting me do the drop down. Oh, I think because I have to have it on. Fade out. Let's make that 1.5 seconds. Save. Oh, I could see it a little bit better. Because I think the other one has like a duration of 2, since its full duration is 1, but so we can move around, I think. No? I don't see any issues. Why is my character not moving? Scene transition manager. Oh, I forgot to apply the functions on here. Okay. So fade in. Want to add transition animator. This is the fade in. And then for fade out. And why do I put it a tick after? I don't know. I just feel like I want the animation to fully play out before we tell the code or the system to do the rest of its logic. Okay, now we can move. Now we get the fade in, got the fade out. That's so cool. And now it's as easy as just adding a new transition. And then I'll have it like, I could add a bool in here. That's like private bool use random transition. And then here, instead, I'll say if use random transition. And I had to do like return second enough. Yeah. And then we'll do the I don't know if I like that. That doesn't seem as legible as I would like it to. So now it should be random. Okay, so now let's use the random. So now it should go from fade out or the sliding one. Oh wait, just realized an issue. Okay, so we can't do that exactly. The issue is that we're using different should it be an issue though? Because I think it's because the different animators are procking the bools, but it should. Finish fading out. Now we're fading in. I see. Okay. Yeah, because this one is still on out, I'm guessing. Whereas this one is on inward. Yep. So with the way I'm doing it, it's not going to work because they're just different animators. There's not one animator that has these different animations. So how would I want to go about this? Well, first of all, we can just not do this. That was just an idea. So if I want to choose one, we can only choose one once we fade it out successfully. So let me look at my code. Transition animator on finish fading out. Let's have set random. I'm just going to comment this code because I don't need it right now. Public void set random transition. Current selected transition type is equal to okay. And then there we can just say scene transition animator.instance. So it's set random transition, so that after we finish doing our animation, it goes random. Just a moment. I was just hugging my dog. All right. So now when we go into a scene, that should be the same one. And then, so we stay with the same one that we're transitioning with, but it could change from scene to scene what the new one will be. Yep. Okay, so that's what I want. I didn't want different fade in and fade outs. I wanted one transition, and then we can change how we want it. Cool. Now the one issue, this doesn't work with varied resolutions. Does it? No, it should if I did my UI stuff properly. There we go. Okay, well, everything seems to be working, and that's all I really want this code to do, because now I can just add whatever I want. Like, let me add another one. So this is going to be slices. So slices will actually not have an image. Just hide these, turns those off right now. I'm going to create some UI images. Have it go like that. So for this, I'm going to have a vertical layout group. Upper center, I think. Where is my image? So I want the width to be expanded. Don't care about the height. So slice. Let's make it like 200. 200. Make that black. So for this, the height, we want them compact as much as possible. So what's 1080, right? So for the height, if I did that, how big is the slice? Okay, slice is just fixed to the screen, which is fine. So this one, can I control the movement? I think if I make them layout elements, ignore layout, I think I can move this. Okay, yeah, so I think it sets the size properly to what I want, but it'll let me animate them. So I want one going out this way, one going out this way, and in that order. Okay, so slices, save, do a new animation, slices, create a new, and after I finish this, that's going to be it for this little recording. Slices, controller, drag that onto the animator. Let's create animations, animation clip, fade in, fade out, in weight, out weight. And this is going to be super nice for other projects I have because I can just drag it in for right now and then make the custom animations I want. And always like using basic like Unity projects just to get started. And then once I have it pretty much uncoupled as possible, I can just use those in my projects. Kind of like assets, kind of. That's how I like to make some of my systems. Okay. So outweight is the default. Fade in weight. Make it fade out. Make a transition. Make a transition. This will be 1 0 1 0. I think with the crossfade play thing, there's an option where it just has no transition off it, and that's what I normally use. Probably, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. This worked for the time being. Maybe later I'll refactor it. Okay, so now I want to animate. So let's do the out. So fade in means that these need to move. So let's make it -11. Maybe -1200. -1200. And then make it second and a half. I want to go back to 0, or is it 960? Okay, 960. And then I think when we fade out, I want them to go in the opposite direction. So then now this one, this will be 960 here. Over here, it'll be 960 plus no, because I went from calc. If it was 12,000 plus 960, it's 2160. So I need to do plus 2160. I think that's about the same. Okay, so this one should be -1200. This one should be 30, 3120. 3120. This one should be negative 1200. This one should be 3120. And then here, 960. 960. 60. Man, I can't type numbers. It's going to copy that. That way I don't even have to worry about it. Oh, that's weird. Okay. So when we have it, it slides in. Cool. So this is going to be the in part. So they're all there. Outweight. If we go back to fade in, should be that. Actually, no, it's going to be because fade out is different. 960. Clear keyframe, clear. That should be 960. Okay, so this one's going to be 3120. I don't have 960 anymore. 960. And a key for all those. And then this one. 130. 3120. So it'll be negative 1200. I don't know if I want to do that. If I want them to like move upwards. I don't know. Maybe that'll be a different animation. For right now, just making it simple. 3120. Negative 12,000. 1200, I guess. 3120. And then 1200. Negative 1200. Copy that. Let me make sure that looks right. Outweight, we want that, which is that. In weight, we want that. Okay, I think that makes sense. So let me do this. I need to go back to the code. Transition manager for the scene enum. Get rid of this, I don't need it. Slices. Add a new one. This one's going to be slices. We add slices. And then the use random transition, let me do that with if use random transition. If we don't do this. That way I can choose one to be random or not. Okay. And then now let me apply all the overrides. Okay, cool. I'm always going to forget this, to always apply the animation functions. Okay, that's nice because they can take me to the end. Fade in. Apply event. Transition animator. Fading in. Fade out. Add it there. Fade out. Cool. Save. Try it again. Draw the console out. Okay, so we're moving. Cool. And we shouldn't be seeing any weird stuff when we transition because it should be the hard black until we've actually loaded it. And it's just loading quick because, I mean, the scene is very simple too. I got a decent computer. Okay, cool. So I think that's pretty much it. Probably gonna turn this into home package. So I just need to put the code where it needs to go. Needs to go into scene transition manager. Like a scripts folder, scripts. The only other thing I need to do is so that I don't have any conflicts with other projects. I just need to add a namespace. So usually you want to do this at the beginning of your projects. Namespace. Where is it? Where's root namespace? Scene transition project. Scene transition asset, I guess. And then after that, every file should have that. So let's have example. So if we open example, it's part of that class. Close that. Delete example. Open all those files, and then we just need to say using namespace. Let's copy that. Make sure everything is spaced properly. Okay, that's done. I'll deal with the errors after I do all this. Oops, wrong one. That's weird, it didn't take me to the end. Normally this would be bad if I had a bunch of files, but since this is a pretty small project. But if you are going to be doing this, definitely do it at the beginning. I just forgot. Let's see, home. Okay. Do I have any errors? I shouldn't, but just making sure everything works. And here, let me make sure I do use random transition, so it'll change. So that's the default fade in, fade out. Oh, everything's working great. And it does all the functionality I think I need. I guess I could add a like loading text. See if I can do that. With that, let me try super text mesh. Really? Super? There it is. Now, I don't know if I'll put this in my actual stuff. Resource? No, I think it's samples. I don't think I need this. Everything else is fine. Okay. So then here we can just have some super text mesh. To be the loading text. This one I want to have on the bottom right. It's a looking game. I'll change it from right. A little space there. Maybe middle. That looks good. So here, where's it? Timing. Ignore timescale, that's right. Force animation. Loading. Wave sassy, I think. Make it 64. And then I just want loading text. Public void turn on loading text. Private super text mesh. Loading text. Loading text. Object. So now here we can have an event. So we have a function where we call these, right? Set these. I'm going to change these to functions. Now I can have those events that I had before. Public event on finished, fading in and fading out. We'll just call those there on finished, fading in. Oh, these are Unity engines. These should be system public, oh my goodness, public system event. Oh, it's event handler. I'm dumb. Event handler. Okay, and then we do it again here. And then I want unfinished public event handler. Let me go back. On started fading in and on fading out. And so what calls references to these? I want the transition animator. So we can do that here. Scene transition manager dot instance dot on started fading in. Also do it here too. We'll do that here as well. Hopefully the Copilot knows what to do. Does not. Oh, there we go. It's because I had to have it after. And then here, let's set scene transition manager on finish fading into that. Invoke it there. Actually, we don't need that there because it's getting called in these functions. So that would just be repeating it twice. Okay. So then now the loading text on start. I want to do the scene transition manager dot instance dot on finished fading in. On scene transition manager on finished fading in. Make a function for that. So when it finishes fading in, we want to turn on the loading text. And then we want another one where it's scene transition manager instance on started fading out. We want on, okay. That is a proper name, right? On start fading out. Yep. And then we want to turn off loading text. I think that's right. And then just make sure to on destroy. Okay. So now, also we'll need to have loading text on start also turn off. See how that works. Okay, cool. I don't see it. And click load scene. See for a little bit and then, okay. So if it was a long scene to load, it would have that. Okay. I'm going to let me make a duplicate scene transition. Whatever. I don't think I'm going to include this. No, that's fine. So I need to drop that into scripts. So all I need to do is export this package. This should be fine for me because I use a lot of these assets already, so it's not going to be huge issue. Let's see. I shouldn't show this stuff on screen. Unity junk is where I put it. Yeah. Scene transition manager asset. Cool. Save. Close this. Let's open. So I'll try opening my project and then see if everything works fine. Oh man, I can't wait to eat some food. I'm hungry. Okay. Loaded on my other screen. Let's see, where are we? We're in. Okay, we're in the arcade menu. So I would need to change how we load stuff. So let me actually go to Assets, Project, Scenes, the main menu. So here is where I want it to be. So go to Assets, Import, Package, Scene Transition. Oh boy, it's struggling hard. I mean, I'm surprised it's taking a while. Only no more than 30 seconds. Come on. Not that much stuff being... I mean, this is stuff from other projects, but it's already in. Okay. Where is it? Here, I'm going to color it. I have a asset that lets me color folders. That way it makes it easier to see stuff. So here, the prefab scene transition. And I guess I'll just use random for the time being. Or maybe, yeah, I'll just use random, it doesn't matter. But then when we load stuff, let me just turn it off real quick. The UI canvas menu buttons is play button as a load level. loading by index. Why am I doing that? Okay. Let's see. Control Shift B. Load button. Load scene button. I need to edit this. Let me get these enums here because it's still compiling. Like that. Wait for it to finish processing files. This is the one annoying thing about Writer is it takes a bit to start up. It's not as lightweight as Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code or some other lightweight IDEs. And you have to pay for it too. It's not a huge subscription cost, but a lot of other IDEs you don't need to pay for a subscription. You'll probably just buy it once and you have it. It's one thing I don't like about Writer. But I do like the stuff that it provides. That's why I'd rather just buy it out. Okay, so let's get rid of these scenes. So main, menu, mode, select, story, mode, menu, rogue, mode, menu, arcade, mode, menu, testing, scene, don't remember what that is. Forest, fields, I feel like I had a class that kind of did this already. Forest fields, fins, reef. Maybe in stage. Let me see. Stage. TD rogue.stage. Yeah, I do have it. See, error main menu mode select. Okay, I got all of them here, so I don't need to do that here. So instead of scene enum, we use stage. Stage ID. On stage, I get the string, right? I'm gonna have a public static string get scene I guess I could copy this. Okay. Now I just need to do... I'll get rid of that. It's not being used. Public. I guess it can be private. Private. Scene. Enum to string. Take a scene enum scene. Do switch on scene. String. Then here, instead of just doing toString, scene enum. Here we do our scene name, scene enum to string name. Cool. Not too bad. And then that way I don't have to do a bunch of duplicate stuff. I mean, I kind of do, but okay. So now the play button. Reference to this button is remove this. Should remove the event. So now we want this to load to mode select. Turn that back on. See if I get any errors. Play. Okay, so now each of those need to get their own. I'm going to do a quick added, God, I can't spell, added scene transition asset made by me. Okay, let's go to the scenes, assets, my project, scenes. So we need to go to mode select. I think each of these are a button. Remove. Gonna add that load seed button. This one, grab there, that needs to go to story mode select. Move. That needs to go to rogue modes menu. This one needs to go to arcade mode menu. Save. Another one over here. It should be fine, but something I need to test. Because with the persist, it should kill the other ones. Is it not? I thought I had that. Story mode menu, save. Yes, I'm not added to the builds. Let's select story mode menu. You know what? It might be a stupid be a name disparity. The rest should be fine. I just made that one mistake. Okay, well, it does do the load out, but I need to make it so that every instance of it knows. And so also, here, let me close that real quick. This button, load scene button, that takes me back to the main menu. Get rid of that. Yeah, that's much cleaner. That way I can know, okay, I want that scene. Although I could probably make it simpler and just grab the button, but whatever. Again, on Wake it adds it instead of me dragging in reference, but I prefer, I think, doing it this way. Okay, so let me go to main menu again. Okay, so far everything's good. Okay. Let me go to star mode. This button needs to go back to mode select. Okay, I'm gonna make it do that. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, because I'm always putting the component on a button, so really it's a bit redundant to do that, I guess. And it's going to save me some time. Okay. So now we need to go to mode, I think. This button as well. So it needs to take me back to mode select. That arcade mode, save this one, take me back to mode select. Ooh. Now there is a thing here that loads these, but for right now, let me just make sure. So far, all these things load the way it should be doing it. Also, just make it so that these buttons don't interact until something happens. Ooh, what happened? Okay, menu. Okay, it's spelled wrong. I think I spelled it wrong here. Let's try that again. I think it was one of those rare times where it was spelled correctly in the code, but C name was actually spelled wrong. all that works. But now, I'm going to work with this stuff. So on go, we do the load, right? Okay, so let's go to arcade menu, load button. So on play level. Does that work? Load, select level. So here we can comment that out. We do scene transition manager dot instance dot load scene. This is the issue. Scene enum. I guess I could, the level loader, public, stage ID, or scene, stage ID to scene enum converter. I should output a stage scene or scene enum. So taking a stage ID. Hopefully that's smart. Okay, here var scene. So I do. Is that going to be a? Could make a singleton. Or it could be a public static. Make a static, I guess. Static. And then here we say level loader dot stage ID to converter stage scene. Should hopefully work. Thankfully, the implementation is already done for me. I just need to know how to hook into it. Okay, let's go back to main menu. I could be putting the scene transition managers in, but you know, for this is how people are going to be accessing it. So let's play this. Fade out, load in. Cool. So the only other things are these two buttons. So this is a retries a level. Okay, so let me go over there. Pass, force fields. Go to the UI. Let's open that up. That should be the options. Where's that? Pause menu, I think. So this button, that's so useful, man. I love that asset that lets me click on things like that. So here, reload this level. I need to make a function like that. Let's see. Load scene button. Oh, no, I don't. I just need to specify it's the same level. Okay. Load scene button. So this is for... Oh, no, I do. This is... I can have a bool. Private bool. Reload this scene. If reload this scene public last scene. So here we can say for last scene, this scene. We do not want to load the scene twice. Okay, so we reload the scene or we just load this. Making sure that's right. Okay. And then I can do a thing where this is a Odin inspector. Hide if reload this scene, because we don't care about what the scene we're in then. So this way we just want to reload the scene. And then this one, we want to load the main menu. Making sure I don't have any other events. Yeah, I think I checked. And then I think on, put this back to 0, there is the lose. Restart level. Let's get rid of that. And I think I can also do load this level. I think get rid of that. This. Get rid of that. Cool. And then 0. That's a 1. That on real quick. This is the only one I need to work on right now. Okay, let's go back to main menu. What kind of errors we might get? Hopefully none, but I don't expect things to work perfectly the first time. So I know all that other stuff works. Cool. So let's try reloading the scene. Okay, that's too high. So maybe I need to put that on top. Put it at like 1,000 or something. Okay, let me do that real quick. Open, let's see, canvas. Save that. Empowered Big Mom. When that goes through, it'll die. Okay, that didn't seem to do it. Load scene button. I guess I could have just had that there. Oh, those are golden. I thought they were the photons. No, I think glass is faster. Okay, that did it. These are also doing unscaled times too, so shouldn't matter. Yeah, the time doesn't matter, so that's a little messed up there. Why are these unpowered glass ones so slow? Oh, they're not slow. I just have it at a higher time. Okay, the only one that doesn't work is restart this level. Just to make sure, did not mean to do that. Should work on any stage. Should be enough to kill me. So there's a difference between retry and restart. One starts you all the way from the beginning, and retry should be the last level you've beaten. Although right now they're gonna look similar. Because if like I have this here. If I retry the level, it should start me around 2. The tower placed down. Whereas if I this should kill me, and then if I choose restart, let me do this just to make sure. It should retry again. Yep. So this time it saves. If I restart, okay, that's weird. I shouldn't have done that. Oh, did it clear the wrong one? I did. Good to know. Also, I got this new. I thought that's pretty cool for debugging stuff. I need to add it to the main menu too, but it's right here. Press the hotkey, a little console window. Okay. New. Okay, now let's spawn a bunch of glass. Okay, retry level should work fine. And now we spawn a bunch of these guys. Should be dead. Now we restart the level. Does a scene transition. And then it clears the data. Cool, cool, cool. That does it too. Awesome. Just want to try with this new level I made. See how it looks on there. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Alright. I think that's going to be it for this recording, or it'd be the end of a live stream if I was actually doing a live stream. Okay, that's going to be it. That was very fun. Happy I got this thing finished up. See you guys. Bye. Oh, you know what? I need to get like different scenes set up. That way I can transition between them. All right, bye.